Hello and welcome to Monday Morning Motivation. The book of Isaiah is commonly known as one of the most outstanding prophetic books in the Old Testament for its messianic prophecies. Isaiah did not only prophesy about Messiah who was to come, but he also declared events that were to occur in the southern and northern kingdoms which made up Israel at that time. His writings are filled with poetry and imagery and is a masterpiece that is truly God-breathed. Although written to Israel then, his words still very much speak to us today, giving great comfort and hope. One such verse is found in chapter 49 and verse 16. Isaiah is prophesying to Israel of God's future restoration and redemption for them after telling them that Babylon would take them into captivity. And in verse 14, the prophet said to Israel, "You are saying that God has forsaken you." Being in captivity and subject to the ravages of war will certainly make it seem that way to the Israelites. They will be wondering what happened to all the great promises God gave to their forefathers, and it would have been easy for them to feel forsaken and forgotten. But God assures them through the prophet Isaiah that they have not been forgotten or forsaken. Isaiah gives them a powerful word in verse 16, where he provides this wonderful image that is our focus today. "See, I have engraved you in the palms of my hands." The word "see," in other words, here's the evidence that I have neither forgotten nor abandoned you. Look at this. You are engraved in the palms of my hand. What an awesome encouragement to us today as well. The lines in the palms of our hands may have changed just a little bit over time, even as we age, Those who delve into the occult use these lines in the palm of our hands to tell us how long a life we may live, among other lies from the pit of hell. But every time you look at the palms of your hands, hear God's strong assurance to you in the midst of whatever you're going through. I have engraved you in the palms of my hands. What a beautiful picture. To think of the great and mighty God, this God so great would think fit to remind us who are small and puny, prone to the same errors Israel made back then, that we are inscribed in the palms of his hands. When you think of an engraving, you know that it's not a mere writing that is easily erased or washed off. I am sure that at one time or the other, you may have quickly written something in the palm of your hand, something as a reminder or a quick note that you didn't want to forget. And even though it was important, after a couple of hours, it easily came off, especially when you started to perspire. But not so with God. Note the words he uses. We are engraved. We are inscribed in the palms of his hand. We are permanently etched in his palms, just like the lines of our palms. So are we in the palms of his hand, and both hands, and for eternity. This is what God is saying to us today and every day for the rest of our lives. This isn't a permanent marker that can be removed over time. This isn't a tattoo, because that can also be surgically removed. This is an engraving, an inscription. It is permanent because it's in his hands, and he is permanent and eternal. Today, the devil may want you to believe that you are excluded, but there's room in the palms of God's hands for you also. In other words, you are not forgotten. Given the context of this verse, I don't see it as a stretch at all to link this to Christ whose palms were permanently marked with the imprint of the nails from the cross he bore for all of us as he gave his life on Calvary. This too is how we are permanently engraved in the palms of his hands. The marks from the nails are a lasting reminder of what he did and accomplished for all humanity, especially for those of us who said a definite yes to him, to follow and obey him. In John 20, verse 27, Jesus said to Thomas, "Look at my hands." And Luke records him showing the disciples his hands and feet to show them the evidence of the nail prints and that he was truly risen from the grave. You know, when the Father sees the marks in Jesus' palms, it is a perpetual reminder of what has been done for all who will believe and accept his finished work on the cross. You are truly forever engraved in the palms of his hands, and he can never forget you. Just before Isaiah told Israel that God was engraved in the palms of their hands, he said to them in verse 15, "Can a woman forget her nursing child and not have compassion on the son of her womb? Surely they may forget, yet I will not forget you." Wow. Then God said to them, "See, I have engraved you in the palms of my hand." Know that God will never, ever forget you. So as you go through this week, whatever trying circumstance you may be in, whatever doubts you may have of God's love for you, if you think that God is taking too long to bring to pass the promise he gave you, take a look at the palms of your hands and remind yourself of this wonderful truth, and say to yourself, "I am permanently engraved in the palms of God's hands. He will never forget me. He can never forget me, for I am his child." Amen. This has been Monday Morning Motivation. Please join me again next week, Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning, for another devotional. Have a wonderful week.